I'm Aaron Porras, and thank you for joining us from our studios in Israel. Coming up in today's newscast, Las Vegas, Nevada becomes the scene of the most horrific mass shooting event in American history. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah issues a chilling warning, and an Auschwitz survivor shares a very unlikely message with the world. Stay tuned for the latest news in Israel. Unfortunately, the world awoke today with headlines of terrorism all over the globe, the worst of which has been a horrific mass shooting on the Las Vegas Strip, just outside of a country music festival where at least 50 are confirmed dead, making it the deadliest mass shooting in American history. Additionally, as of this reading, there are 12 Israelis in Vegas that are unaccounted for. So far, it's too early to tell if this is an ISIS-related attack, but police have confirmed that the main suspect, 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, who was shot and killed at the scene, was a Nevada local. One accomplice is believed to still be at large, though one female person of interest has also been detained.
Obviously, this is a tragic incident and one that we've never experienced in this valley. So what we're going to try to do is the best we can to get our first responders back on their feet and responding and conducting a proper investigation and ensure that we have the safety of this community at heart. My condolences go out to the loved ones that lost their lives and their families, and we will do the best we can to make it as easy as possible for you to get information as we know it.
Israel's foreign ministry has condemned the massacre in Vegas, tweeting support to the victims on behalf of Israel. Less than 24 hours prior to this attack, a suspected Islamic extremist stabbed and murdered 2 women to death at the main train station in Marseille, France. He reportedly shouted Allahu Akbar when he pulled his knife and was shot dead by soldiers at the scene. Unfortunately, there was yet another attack shortly thereafter, this time in Edmonton, Canada, when a 30-year-old suspect rammed his van into a police car, then took off on foot with a knife. The suspect injured 5 people in his rampage before police took him into custody. They're calling this one a lone wolf attack. But regardless, the whole world is mourning the events of the last tragic 24 hours. With the apparent rise in terror-related attacks across the Western world recently, you can see Israelis sympathizing with the victims they unfortunately understand all too well. But after being the brunt of attacks across practically every international forum from the United Nations to FIFA, many Israelis are left wondering if that sympathy goes both ways. Joining us now in the studio to help answer that question is Ambassador Yosef Livni, former Israeli ambassador to New Zealand. Thank you for coming in again, Ambassador.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, so first and foremost, how have Israel's relationships internationally been affected by terror attacks across the world?
Well, before answering your question, I think that it behooves us all to extend our deepest sympathies and condolences to the people of Las Vegas and Nevada and the United States as a whole over that terrific act of violence that we witnessed earlier today. I think that in answering your question, I think that in many parts of the world, people, when they see terrorism in Israel, and now they see terrorism in their parts of the world, in other countries, they begin to ask themselves, how come? And what are the similarities? And I think that among some people at least, I don't know if the majority, but at least a good number of people, they say, wait a minute, the Israelis have been suffering from terrorism for so many years. We are now being attacked by similar terrorist groups. Maybe there's something we should do together.
Are there, what would you say, just a ballpark guess, the percentage of people who are thinking that versus the people who say, it's apples and oranges?
No, I don't think people will say it's apples and oranges. I think that anyone who dwells into the details and sees that you suffer from extremist Islamic terrorist acts in Europe or in other parts, and they know that terrorism in Israel is associated with similar people, then they figure there's something in common. I don't know how many people really look into it so deeply, because it needs analysis. It needs people to say, wait a minute, let's see what's happening.
Right, and it would require somebody, you know, that we're assuming that people are already thinking like, hey, let's think about Israel suddenly.
Exactly, because what happens is, since we as Israelis, we've been exposed to terrorism for so many years, it almost becomes a second nature for us. When we see terrorist phenomena in other parts of the world, we try to draw parallels, similarities. But that is because our own experience with terrorism has been with us for so many years, for decades, that we are more attuned to it and to the significance and the impact of terrorism. And for some people, certainly in places where terrorist attacks, we're not talking about isolated, but several terrorist attacks, I have no doubt that people start saying, wait a minute, maybe there's something that is similar here.
Now, does that also translate to certain other governments then taking a look at our practices and how we deal with terrorism and maybe reaching out to us, or just taking a page from our book? You know, because say for example, in America, a very hot button word is profiling. It's almost immediately thought of as racial profiling, whereas in Israel we use behavioral profiling, and we look for certain behavioral traits, and you know, there's even a list that they hand out to security personnel. Do you think that that is starting to translate more into the international community, and they're taking
I think that over the years, people have looked at the way Israel deals with the challenge of terrorism. And they say, look, these guys have had experience, they've been successful, and let's see where we can exchange notes. Maybe there's something we can learn from the Israelis. And this is something that, I mean, people don't go around declaring, we want to learn from your experience.
Sure.
These are the things that people do rather silently,
right,
and away from the floodlights, which is okay,
Sure.
because after all, you're dealing with something that needs a lot of preparedness, a lot of ingenuity, and maybe this is something that need not be in the headlines.
All right. Well, again, I think it would be on both of our thoughts to kind of extend our thoughts in our hearts and our best wishes to all the victims in all over the world that we just mentioned earlier. And thank you again, Ambassador Livni, for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Ahead of the Catalan independence referendum that has just taken place, Spanish police were ordered to use force to block the vote. Hundreds have been injured as police shut down voting booths across the region and even reportedly fired rubber bullets into crowds. But the numbers are in, and a whopping 90% have voted for an independent Catalonia. Israeli Knesset member Ksenia Svetlova from the Zionist Union was actually there to personally observe the vote and was shocked to witness the police brutality on the ground used to block the voting.
We were just here in the square when we heard the shootings, and of course, you know, what I understand is that I saw a lot of unarmed people, citizens who were here because to aspire their democracy, and we saw the police shooting rubber bullets at them. This is what happened. I saw already people bleeding and hurt, and this is not the first people that we saw today already that were hurt and were taken from here by ambulance.
Despite the Catalan call for independence, the Spanish government has called the vote illegal and has clearly not hesitated to use force. Police were able to shut down 79 of the 2,300 voting centers all over Catalonia, but clearly not the voice of the voters, the vast majority of whom overwhelmingly voted for an independent Catalonia separate from Spain. The state's annual Yom Kippur War Memorial has just commemorated the 2,222 soldiers who lost their lives on the battlefield in 1973. Thousands gathered with the victims' families to grieve their loss, but strangely absent from the gathering was even a single representative of the Israeli government. Needless to say, many were surprised, to say the least, when not one cabinet member showed up for the ceremony. Prime Minister Netanyahu himself apologized to the bereaved families for his absence, calling it a, quote, sad mistake, and promising to correct the mishap in the future. On Facebook, the Prime Minister assured the people that, quote, "There is no greater duty than this for our loved ones who fell, so that we will live in our country," end quote. At this time, it's still unclear exactly why every minister failed to attend the event, which marked the 44th anniversary of the bloody conflict. Now, the leader of Hezbollah has once again issued a vicious threat to Israel, telling everyone living in Israel to get out before they find themselves in Hezbollah's warpath. With us for the analysis is ILTV's Brett Allen Smith. Now, Brett, obviously statements like this from Nasrallah aren't a new thing, so what should we make out of this one?
Well, Aaron, the rhetoric is definitely nothing new, but let's remember that tensions between Israel and Hezbollah have really been ramping up recently. I mean, lately Israel's seen a lot of Hezbollah and Iranian influence seeping into Syria right on its own doorstep, and the army hasn't hesitated to strike back with dozens of airstrikes on Hezbollah targets all over the region. Now, not long ago, even the UN voted to renew security troops in Lebanon to try and keep Hezbollah's army in check. So maybe that's why the timing on these words seem to hit a little closer to the nerve than usual right about now.
All right, but even though tensions are high, should Israel be worried by these threats?
Look, Nasrallah kind of needs to say things like this on a pretty regular basis to keep his fan base motivated and, keep them going. So Hezbollah right now is spread very thin because it's engaged with the Islamic State on multiple fronts right now. And there are rumors of infighting that may have even weakened the group politically a bit as well. But as an army, Hezbollah is a very serious threat to Israel, one that I think Israel does take seriously. And that's why war probably isn't right around the corner, at least not for now, but why both sides are always kind of preparing like it is, as you'll see now in the report.
Right.
Tens of thousands of Shiites have gathered in Beirut to observe Ashura. Typically, this is a religious holiday, but as usual, the leader of Hezbollah has used it as an opportunity to address the world and rally his base.
وأدعو كل الذين جاءوا إلى فلسطين المحتلة على أنها عود اللبن والعسل إلى مغادرتها أدعوهم إلى مغادرتها والعودة إلى البلدان التي جاءوا منها حتى لا يكونوا وقودا لأي حرب تأخذهم إليها حكومة نتنياهو الحمقاء لأن نتنياهو إذا شن حربا في هذه المنطقة قد لا يكون لدى هؤلاء وقت حتى لمغادرة فلسطين ولن يكون لهم أي مكان آمن في فلسطين المحتلة.
These harsh words come at a time when tensions between Israel and Hezbollah have never been higher. With funding from Iran, Hezbollah's ranks have slowly infiltrated into the destabilized regions in Syria, placing Hezbollah fighters and missiles practically on Israel's doorstep. Israel has repeatedly appealed to the global community for action, with Prime Minister Netanyahu even highlighting the issue at the top of his annual UN address. But so far, Hezbollah shows little signs of slowing down. That's why Israel has launched airstrikes on nearly 100 Hezbollah targets over the last several years, pushing tensions even further, and even simulating an evacuation of the north to prepare for a possible war with Hezbollah. But is war on the horizon? For the immediate future, it may not appear to be, but it's clear to both sides that preparations have already begun.
The possible reconciliation between Hamas and the Palestinian Authority is looking more real than ever today. As we speak, an envoy from President Abbas's Fatah party is in the West Bank and is making an historic visit to Gaza City, hoping to once and for all seal the terms for a Palestinian unity government. Rumors of a reconciliation have been ramping up ever since Hamas agreed to dissolve its government in Gaza and open talks with zero preconditions. In a similar demonstration of good faith, Hamas has just released 5 prisoners belonging to President Abbas's Fatah party, less than 24 hours ahead of the Gaza talks. Now, some members of the Palestinian Authority, including Culture Minister Ehab Seso, have actually been in the Strip for days, negotiating the reopening of Fatah offices in Gaza for the first time in nearly 10 years.
نحن بداية مرحلة جديدة، مرحلة الآمال ومرحلة العمل والإرادة والتوافق السياسي الذي يمكن الحكومة من الإيفاء بالتزاماتها تجاه أهلنا في قطاع غزة. اليوم تصل الحكومة برئاسة الدكتور رامي الحمد الله إلى القطاع، وبالتالي أجندة الحكومة مزدحمة بالكثير من الأفكار والمشاريع.
Now, these aren't the first peace talks between the bitter rivals, but both sides face their own separate obstacles, which may make a unity a mutually beneficial reality this go around. With the humanitarian situation decaying by the day in Gaza, Hamas has proven it cannot continue to govern there. And meanwhile, President Abbas can't realize a Palestinian state without Gaza as part of the deal. But for now, we'll just have to wait and see where the discussions will lead us. The defense minister of Greece has just made a surprise announcement. It looks like Israel will again be part of a joint Mediterranean Air Force drill, meaning Israeli pilots will be sharing the skies with planes from Greece, Cyprus, and Egypt. The cooperative Air Force drills between the countries, which may even include other members from the European Union as well, are intended to promote stability in the eastern Mediterranean. According to Greek Defense Minister Panos Kamenos, plans are currently underway to get planes on the runway as soon as possible. These drills, though not entirely unprecedented, would be a significant step towards unifying the skies over the region and would certainly be a welcomed event for all participants. Israel has always had a rich history of tourism, but it's also a popular hotspot for many people to build their summer getaways. Well, if you're thinking of buying, renovating, and/or building your home away from home here in the Holy Land, my guest today can help you make the most of the view from your pad. Joining me now in the studio is Richie Richtman, the CEO of Klil Industries, to share with us some brand new designs from his company. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Ron.
So first, fill us in. What does Klil Industries do?
Well, our specialty is to make windows and doors. Klil leads the design of aluminum of windows, doors, and curtain wall in Israel. And we are located in the north, in the uphills of the Galilee. The company, we have 300 workers, Jews, Druze, Arabs, all over. And we are all working together for the last 70 years. So it's wonderful, that's right.
Has your company ever been targeted by BDS or anything like that because of the work that you have?
No.
Cool.
Actually, we are working in Carmiel, and no, we didn't have problem with this.
So, back to your products, what's different about your products? What's special about these items?
Yeah, our products are very special. First of all, we don't have something which called the standard window. It's always a tailor-made window. You cannot go just like this to a store and to buy our window. You can see a model in our showroom, but then we can give you a window absolutely according to your vision. Special opening, special color, any color you would like. And we introduce every year new products. This year we introduce the well-known window according to the well-known Bauhaus architectural style.
Okay, sure.
Which
very simple form and function
exactly. Very symmetry, very clean, very unique, with a very special style. It looks like iron, but I can assure you it's aluminum.
And it's nice and light and kind of.
It's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful. So, you can use also our glass in this window. You can use also our special glass. You just can have transparent glass if you would like to have natural light. Or if you are around a noisy place, you can use our acoustic glass.
And just, briefly, because unfortunately we're starting to run out of time, but, tell me about this product that you brought in here.
Yeah, well, this regards our smart shutters. We also have some shutters. So we knew and we understand that our customers like to be safe and convenient. So what we are doing, we have, for instance, here we have a climate sensor that if, for instance, you have it's raining, and yesterday you washed your windows, and you don't want them to be dirty, so it closes your windows. It closes your shutter. On the other hand,
sure.
If you have sun, so it can open your shutters also.
It's just totally automated. That's amazing. Making everything smart, windows included. Anyway, unfortunately, I hate to kick you out, but that's all the time we have. Richie Richtman, thank you so much from Klil Industries.
Thank you very much.
All right, now here's some good news for women everywhere. For the first time ever, the Mossad Security Service has just appointed 2 women to head separate divisions within the secretive government agency. Known only by their code names L and S, these 2 ladies are the first to ever hold positions like this at the same time in the Mossad. Though obviously the details are mostly under wraps, such as the identity of the agents or even what divisions they head, the Mossad has confirmed that the appointments were in fact made a short while ago. As division heads, these Mossad women rank on par with a major general in the IDF, which means these women now hold some of the highest ranks in the country to date. Though this isn't the first time the Mossad has appointed women to the head of divisions within its ranks, it's the first time 2 women have held top positions at the same time, which many see as a big step towards gender equality within the organization. In related news, there's actually another first on the way for the Mossad as well. Prime Minister Netanyahu and Mossad head Yossi Cohen will be giving citations to 6 teams of Mossad agents who carried out special operations all over the world. This secret presentation is expected to become an annual event, making it a brand new Mossad tradition. And up now, we have ILTV's Emmanuel Kadosh in the studio with us to share the viral video of the week. Emmanuel, what are we looking at today?
Hi, Aaron. Well, we are post both Jewish holidays of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and both of those holidays symbolize forgiveness and a fresh start. So today's viral video, which got over 120 million views on Facebook alone, is just a testament to those holiday ideals. Ava Moses Cole, both a Holocaust survivor and lecturer, takes us on her journey from being a 10-year-old child experimented on by Joseph Mengele, and also known as the Angel of Death, and leads us all the way to show how she forgave him and Dr. Hans Munch, another Nazi doctor.
Yeah, I saw that recently. The video is entitled The Power to Live and Forgive, and it's really powerful, actually. I mean, but I'll let you tell more about it and her journey in this video.
Well, Ava started out the video by sharing with us that she had a twin sister. Joseph Mengele was known to perform all types of experiments on twins, and when Ava and her sister got to the Auschwitz concentration camp, that's exactly what was done to them. They had no idea what was being injected in them on a daily basis. Until this day, they have no idea what's in their bodies. Ava describes in great detail everything she experienced, how sick her and her sister got at one point, and how the will to survive kept them both going.
Yeah, so I mean, as you just said, I remember that both she and her sister made it out of the camps,
right.
But they had all sorts of complications later in life.
Yes, exactly. In the video, Ava tells us about their lives after the camps were liberated, all the physical and mental challenges that they had to face, due to the experimentation that had been done on them. And then there was a plot twist. I don't want to spoil what happens, but basically the events that occurred later in later years would lead ultimately to her forgiveness.
All right, well, why don't we watch a short clip of the 14-minute video then?
An Auschwitz survivor gives him a letter of forgiveness to a Nazi doctor. But what I discovered for myself was life-changing. I discovered that I had the power to forgive. No one could give me that power. No one could take it away. It was all mine to use in any way I wished.
It's just as powerful to hear her speak the second time around.
Yes, it's really a must-watch. The full video takes you on a detailed journey. You almost feel her pain through the screen. It's really incredible and very powerful.
So tell me, I know how we reacted,
right.
But how did the public react to this video?
Surprisingly, a lot of other Holocaust survivors actually really disapproved of it. They felt hurt by the fact that she could forgive such horrific acts, and almost felt betrayed, since not everyone was supportive of her choice to let go and forgive, though in reality, all she wanted to do was free herself of this undeniable tragedy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was something that she says she had to do
right.
in the video, and while we don't want to give away too much, because
right.
it's truly worth seeing it for yourself. I'll say that regardless of how we feel, I mean, Ava is an incredibly strong and brave woman to not only forgive, but forgive publicly.
Yes, publicly. I couldn't agree more. Everyone must watch. Make sure to check out the full video. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thanks.
Enroll in eTeacher's online Hebrew courses and quickly discover that it creates the deepest connection to Israel that you could ever imagine. And now for our Hebrew word of the day. If you felt you hurt someone in any way and wanted to apologize, Yom Kippur is your day. That's why today's word is lisloach, meaning to forgive. You ask a friend for slicha, or forgiveness for all your wrongdoings during the year, and some say lisloach, or to forgive, isn't easy, while others say lisloach is the only way to truly move on. I say it's easier to lisloach than to hold a grudge, but don't take it from me, just listen to the words of Ava Moses Cole, a Holocaust survivor who embraced the power of forgiveness and removed the long-held weight of victimhood from her shoulders. Slicha, or forgiveness, is indeed a powerful tool that takes a lot of courage to wield, so give it a shot. The satisfied feeling might surprise you. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the weather forecast. Tonight will be partly cloudy with a low of 74 or 23 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow you can expect a sharp drop in temperatures with a high of 83 or 28 degrees Celsius. All right, that's it for today's news. Today's exchange rate is 3.55 shekels to the American dollar. Remember to sign up for our daily newsletter at iltv.tv. I'm Aaron Porras, and thank you for watching.